There's a reason why the Maximum Press Battlestar Galactica comics failed. In a word, recycling. Like Buck Rogers recycled the show's props, the comic book line recycled its stories. But first, let's look at the art. Maxi Press wasn't allowed to use the actors' likenesses. Let's see what we got. Apollo looks okay, except as he's older, he should have wrinkles. And what's up with the eyebrows? His uniform's cool, except for the epaulets. Athena looks like a homecoming queen. Starbuck and Bojay look like bikers. Sheba looks like the empress of some ancient civilization. Boltar's implants make sense, but his face ain't that great. Well, they were only props. The Cylons have lost their sinister red eye, and Lucifer looks downright awful. This prohibition on likenesses seems to include rubber masks. When Boltar asks Count Iblis to reveal himself, we don't even get to see that gnarly pig face. Okay, it's 20 yards after the battle at the edge of the galaxy. Apollo, Athena, and Rigel run the Galactica. Starbuck's a captain and Boomer's a colonel. Ty is president of the council, and Boxy is a Viper pilot like his father. Apollo and Sheba are married, and they have a son named Cain. And Sheba's a stay-at-home mom. The fleet warps to Earth with a temporal overdrive given to them by the light beings, now called the Seraphs. So half the premise is gone on page 15. The big three go down to a planet that looks like Jurassic Park. They find a pyramid covered with hieroglyphics. Boxy identifies them as writings from the 13th tribe because Adama taught him how to read ancient Kobalian. With this information, the council votes to carry out Adama's last order, so they bring him out of suspended animation. Apollo's pissed because they haven't found a cure for the Kobalian equivalent of Alzheimer's disease. When Adama hears about the pyramid, he wants to go down. He's able to unlock it with one of his amulets. At the top of the pyramid, they find two bodies in stasis. With the amulet, Adama awakens them. They introduce themselves as Adam and Eve. Adam says they're from the 13th tribe. Just the 13th tribe. No name is mentioned. They left Kobol in great arcs and split up to confuse the Cylons. Adam and Eve were put into stasis and sent on autopilot to Earth. Meanwhile, Count Iblis appears and tells Boltar they're going to attack Earth. The Cylons have a primitive overdrive and Iblis modifies it to be like the Galacticas. Then he visits Sheba and takes her on a trip through space and time to where they met. He gives her a gander at the inside of the crashed ship. Apollo resurrected. Apollo leaves the party when the Cylons attack. While he goes up, Boltar comes down and shoots Adama. Adam scares him away with his staff. Sheba meets Apollo on the way to the bridge. She tells Apollo Iblis showed her Cain's body in the wreck, and she's pissed he never told her, and she shoots him. Apollo wakes up on the lightship. He's greeted by John. He begs John to send him back like before. Iblis tricked her, and in a brief flashback we finally see what's inside the crashed ship. John says okay, but last time. Pegasus Rescue. The fleet is taking a beating. Athena detects a spatial distortion, and out comes the Battlestar Pegasus, because it has its own Seraph-supplied overdrive. The Pegasus takes out a base star. Two remain, and again, Boltar retreats. Next, a pulsar from Earth destroys one of them. You see, Adam's Ark was a ship, and it has a laser cannon. Iblis abandons Boltar, and Boltar flees. The last 2 pages show husband and wife reconcile and a daddy-daughter reunion. The next series, The Enemy Within, starts with the colonists building a city on Earth. While Apollo mourns the loss of his father, Cain takes his grandson on a wild ride through the asteroid belt, scaring the pogies out of him. Now, Commander Cain is the gung-ho type, but Lloyd Bridges made him lovable. In the comics, he's irritating. While giving his grandson a macho lecture, he detects an approaching vessel. The power struggle. Commander Cain reports his findings. He and Apollo fight over who's to lead the salvage operation. Cain and Adama were both commanders, so why did Adama outrank Cain? Because he dressed differently? Anyway, again, Cain steps aside and Apollo takes control, intercepting the dead ship. They board the ship and find several life support canisters. Only one works. Doctors Salick and Wilker revive the sole survivor. He says his name is Ares and he's from the unnamed 13th tribe. Although his story squares with Adam's, Adam is suspicious. Woman gives Batty the grand tour. Athena volunteers to hold Ares' hand during his stay. Unbeknownst to the colonists, but knownst to us, Ares is a Cylon under vat-grown skin, and he's on a mission of sabotage. An idea Boltar came up with when he scraped up an authentic Cobalian vessel. She shows him the temporal overdrive. While touring the new city, Ares saves a boy from a construction accident. The grateful colonists let him play in the inaugural triad game in their new arena. Ares' team wins easily. This is the love issue. In addition to the Athena-Ares romance, we learn Cassiope is dead, and Boomer has a daughter from his wife Deirdre, who's since gone on to the cradle of space. Ares sabotages the overdrive, taking out Dr. Wilker with it. But Wilker is an android. The real Dr. Wilker implanted his intellect into a positronic brain after a debilitating accident. When his brain is accessed, Apollo sees Ares assaulting Wilker. The search is on. As Ares plants a bomb in the landing bay, he uses the Galactica's engines to mask a message to Lucifer. But Rigel picks it up and the Vipers are scrambled. Sheba takes the opportunity to re-enlist. Ares plants a bomb in the Energizer. Starbuck and Ares fight while Apollo defuses it. Starbuck lures Ares to an escape pod. Apollo jettisons it, saving the Galactica, but at a terrible price. We take a break from the saga with a 3-issue Starbuck series. It takes place between Boltar's escape and Experiment in Terra. To capsulize it, Starbuck crashes on Lunar 1 and frees a bunch of nationalist prisoners. Okay, we return to the saga with the 3-issue story called Apollo's Journey, and it's written by Richard Hatch, Apollo himself. This story plays out similar to Boltar's escape. The Borellian Nomen are mysteriously back on the prison barge. Count Ibley appears and claims he has a plan to enslave the humans with the Nomen as their overseers. MAGA makes it clear the Nomen answer to nobody. Apollo's having a bad day. First he clashes with Cain, then pisses off Sheba by calling her Serena. Then the council relieves him of command because Ty thinks he's shell-shocked. Count Ibley appears. He thinks Apollo's emotional state makes him easy prey. After a little guilt-tripping, Apollo shoots Cain. In the brig, Apollo prays for strength to resist Ibley. Help arrives, in the form of Serena. After a quick morale speech, Apollo has company. Ty wants the doctor to examine Apollo. When the door is opened, Apollo overpowers the guy with the gun. He makes for the launch bay, and unlike Starbuck, he flees. and the chase is on. The Nomen escape confinement, hijack a ride to the Galactica, and take the Council hostage. All the while, MAGA spews his macho Felger carb. Adam gets Kane off the Galactica and takes him to the Ark. Kane croaks out 2 words. When Adam gets word to Tolan, he knows what to do, because Kane is a neoconservative, and he has a pre-packaged plan to attack the Galactica. Count Ibley stops Apollo in mid-flight and gives him his new assignment: steal Adam's amulet. Ibley has fomented a rebellion on Earth, too. While rebels are trying to break into the pyramid, there's an intruder alert. Sheba goes to investigate, having taken Adam's amulet to open doors. She's unnerved when she finds Apollo. After reminding him he's still under arrest, he says the devil made me do it. So she gives him the amulet. Vipers take out all the laser and scanning turrets while a small strike team enters the Galactica through an airlock. The strike team reaches the bridge and the Galactica is secure. An angry MAGA says he should have known Count Ibley was going to abandon them, but 20 yards of incarceration dulled his senses. With a few zaps from the amulet, Apollo puts down both Ibley and the rebellion. He uses it to heal Kane, and the charges against him are dropped. Thankfully, the series had no time travel episodes, but this is the comics, and the final chapter of this saga is loaded with that worn-out sci-fi cliche, time travel. Alone in the hands of God during a party. While the colonists are celebrating the new Yaren, Apollo is reflecting on recent events. This time, his solitude is broken by John's brother Elias. Could this be a nod to Elias Hewer? He says a Cylon armada is coming to take out the humans once and for all. When Apollo spreads the word, Kane wants to stay and fight, but the Council orders Earth evacuated. Adam and Eve decide to stay. Interlude. We see Starbuck has crashed on a desert planet and Ares is destroyed because he took all the shock. With all the plagiarism going on, you'd think Starbuck would have crashed on Attila and Kyle would look like Fabio. Elias's warning came too late. The Cylons arrive in mid-evacuation. The Pegasus and Adam's Ark are destroyed. The civilian ships have either fled or have been destroyed. Then Elias arrives, late again, and takes him on a trip through time and space. The Galactica has been warped 20 yards into the future and dumped into the heart of Eastern Alliance space. And the antagonist in this issue is Commandant Leiter's son. Now, after watching the colonists fight the Cylons for half a season, it was hard to believe they'd crap their pants over these lightweights. But this is the comics. We see here the Alliance, which has rebranded itself the Eastern Empire, has conquered the galaxy, including the Cylons. They have slaves mining thallium, a force made up of nationalists and a few colonists who fled Earth, and the Cylons are their overseers. After Leiter Jr. flexes his muscles, Apollo surrenders the Galactica. In the mines, Apollo befriends Daniel, a nationalist prisoner. Daniel says the Eastern people have a Cylon running the Galactica. A friend of his, a sympathizer, can steal the command code. Once activated, they can use the Cylon to reprogram his pals. Okay, Daniel's friends cause a diversion, and quicker than you can say, "Death to the Cylons!" he and Apollo sneak aboard. A reactivated Dr. Wilker reprograms the Cylons. They turn on their masters, and the humans are free. When it doesn't matter anymore, Elias shows up. In another worn-out literary cliche, an angry Apollo asks Elias why he dumped them into this inferno. And Elias answers, "To teach you a lesson." Then he warps them again. In the last leg of the Galacticans' journey, Maximum Press recycles not only storylines, but dialogue and images. Radio chatter tells our heroes they're back in their home system, just before the Cylon attack. Apollo and Ty figure there's no time to be subtle. They shuttle over to the Atlantia and warn the Council of the impending attack. And as proof, they bring their purloined Cylon, which they mysteriously got past security. The Council thinks it's a trick and has the trio thrown in the brig, but the wise old Adama knows something's up. Though President Adar ordered the trio's arrest, the guards have no problem turning them over to Adama. Meanwhile, Colonel Athena begs Captain Apollo to abort his mission to Simtar. He does and sends Zack on a special mission. On 7342 Galactica, Commander Apollo tries to convince Adama there's no hope for the fleet, and they must set a course for home. He does so after scanners pick up oncoming ships. They watch the destruction of the fleet from a distance. Kane takes 7363 Galactica to Caprica to defend the colonies. The Galacticans are vastly outnumbered. On 7342 Galactica, Commander Apollo has an idea. He uses their Cylon to call off the attack because it has the 20-yarn-old command code in its databanks. He figures it'll take about 2 Centaurs for the Cylons to refuel and change their attack codes. Now we see what Zack's mission was: to rescue their mother, who now looks like Sarah Connor. The plan works. The Cylons withdraw. The Imperious leader's pissed. He gives Boltar an ultimatum. The Galacticans use their time wisely. They assemble their ragtag fleet and flee, this time with more people. 7342 Galactica will head straight to Earth with the fleet. 7363 Galactica will keep the Cylons at bay till they're out of scanning range. Commander Apollo and President Ty shuttle back to 7363 Galactica. Colonel Athena detects 3 life forms aboard. Apollo finds their mother stowed away. She wants to see her grandkids grow up. With Commander Apollo back, Commander Kane decides to lead the Vipers. The Cylons are back in force. The fight does not go well. Zack's Viper is damaged. Captain Apollo orders him to land on 7363 Galactica. Kane's Viper is destroyed. The Galactica is in flames. Fire encroaches on the Energizer. Then Apollo's back on the lightship. Elias says the damage to the Galactica has been repaired. 7342 Galactica takes the ragtag fleet straight to Earth, as planned. So Kree doesn't tell the Cylon to go rust himself. Red-Eye terrorizes Aquelas, and Megan languishes in jail. So does this mean Apollo and Sheba never meet? The Pegasus is back in the Krillian star system. Is Apollo married to Serena? Starbuck is out of the picture. Elias has something special planned for him. It's 7362. The Galactica is back. Where and when it started. Apollo relays Elias's promise that neither Count Iblis nor the Cylons will bother their counterparts. Athena asks, "What are we gonna do? Wander around space forever?" Apollo says no. They're gonna do what their father wanted. Find the 13th tribe. So there you have it. Recycling and a heap of time travel ruins a good idea. And all the letters Maxi Press published say, "This is so cool." I wonder how many "this sucks" letters they got.